Hello, folks.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I was waiting to talk to the last member of the delegation in the region. Good afternoon. Before I leave for North Carolina, which I'm going to do in a few minutes, I want to speak briefly about the terrible incident and accident that happened in Baltimore this morning. At about 1:30, a container ship struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which I've been over many, many times commuting from the state of Delaware in our trainer by car. I've been in Baltimore Harbor many times. And the bridge collapsed, sending several people and vehicles into the water, into the river. And multiple U.S. Coast Guard units, which are stationed very nearby, thank God, were immediately deployed along with local emergency personnel. And the Coast Guard is leading the response at the port, where representatives from the Federal Highway Administration, the FBI, the Department of Transportation, the Army Corps of Engineers, as well as Maryland officials and Baltimore Police and Fire, are all working together to coordinate an emergency response. Officials at the scene estimate 8 people were unaccounted for still. Not still, were unaccounted for. That number might change. 2 have been rescued, 1 without injury, 1 in critical condition. And the search and rescue operation is continuing for all those remaining as we speak. I spoke with Governor Moore this morning, as well as the Mayor of Baltimore, the county executive, both United States senators and the congressman. And my Secretary of Transportation is on the scene. I told them we're going to send all the federal resources they need as we respond to this emergency. And I mean all the federal resources. And we're going to rebuild that port together. Everything so far indicates that this was a terrible accident. At this time, we have no other indication, no other reason to believe there's any intentional act here. Personnel on board the ship were able to alert the Maryland Department of Transportation that they had lost control of their vessel, as you all know and reported. As a result, local authorities were able to close the bridge to traffic before the bridge was struck, which undoubtedly saved lives. Our prayers are with everyone involved in this terrible accident and all the families, especially those waiting for the news of their loved one right now. I know every minute in that circumstance feels like a lifetime. You just don't know. It's just terrible. We're incredibly grateful for the brave rescuers who immediately rushed to the scene, and to the people of Baltimore. I want to say we're with you. We're going to stay with you as long as it takes. And like the governor said, you're Maryland tough, you're Baltimore strong, and we're going to get through this together. And I promise we're not leaving. Here's what's happening now. The search and rescue operation is our top priority. Ship traffic in the Port of Baltimore has been suspended until further notice, and we'll need to clear that channel before the ship traffic can resume. The Army Corps of Engineers is on the spot and is going to help lead this effort to clear the channel. The Port of Baltimore is one of the nation's largest shipping hubs, and I've been there a number of times as a senator and as a vice president. It handles a record amount of cargo last year. It's also the top port in America for both imports and exports of automobiles and light trucks. Around 850,000 vehicles go through that port every single year, and we're going to get it up and running again as soon as possible. 15,000 jobs depend on that port, and we're going to do everything we can to protect those jobs and help those workers. The bridge is also critical for travel, not just for Baltimore, but for the Northeast Corridor. Over 30,000 vehicles cross the Francis Scott Key Bridge on a daily basis. It's virtually, it's one of the most important elements for the economy in the Northeast and the quality of life. My transportation secretary is there now. As I told Governor Moore, I've directed my team to move heaven and earth to reopen the port and rebuild the bridge as soon as humanly possible. And we're going to work hand in hand with the support of Maryland to support Maryland whatever they ask for. We're going to work with our partners in Congress to make sure the state gets the support it needs. It's my intention that the federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge, and I expect the Congress to support my effort. This is going to take some time. The people of Baltimore can count on us, though, to stick with them at every step of the way until the port is reopened and the bridge is rebuilt. You know, we're not leaving until this job gets done. Not leaving until then. So I just want to say God bless everybody who got everyone harmed this morning and their families. And may God bless the first responders, many of whom risking their lives. And the reason I'm not going to take a lot of questions, there's remaining issues that are open that we've got to determine what's going to happen in terms of the rescue mission and the like, but
Do you plan to go to Baltimore, sir? And if so, how quickly?
I do, and as quickly as I can. That's what we're
You said
doing.
the federal government's also going to pay for the repairs. I'm just curious, this was a ship that appears to be at fault. Is there any reason to believe that the company behind the ship should be held responsible? And then also, you
That
mentioned
could be, but we're not going to wait till that happens. We're going to pay for it to get the bridge rebuilt and opened.
What did you make of
Mr.
Israel's
President.
decision not to attend this meeting this week?
Oh, I don't want to get into that.
Regarding
I'll have plenty of
Rockwell.
time to talk about Ross.
you mentioned the port.
Mr. President,
Port.
not
Can I ask about
the
cars?
port.
About the port.
Thanks for everyone. Thanks for everyone. All right, thanks everyone. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
And now that the sun is up, we just want to show you what we are seeing in the Patapsco here, in my angle here. And I want to start, if you can go into the ship there, and you can see just that massive ship in the middle of the water, and you can see the remnants of the bridge. And again, this is from the Baltimore County viewpoint. And the first thing I noticed when the sun started to go up is just over to the side of that, you can see the ramp where that was leading to the bridge, and you can see there's no more bridge there. It's just heartbreaking. You can see just where it ends. You can see what's left of the Key Bridge. An absolutely incredible view. We've talked about the challenges: diesel fuel in the water, silt, the tide, the cold temperatures. At least we've got daylight now. I want to bring in a neighbor here in this community, Jeremy, and you live fairly close by. Tell me, what did you see and hear? Again, this is around 1:30 this morning. Were you sleeping? Did it wake you up?
I was sleeping, and then it kind of sounded like we have a lot of airplanes that go across, so it sounded like that at first, and then we felt the vibration, and then it was just like a really vigorous vibration.
Are you connected?
Yes.
Now, I mean, you could tell the bridge was gone this morning, but now it's tragic, man.
Yeah. How many times would you say you've crossed the Key Bridge in your life?
I mean, I just crossed it yesterday twice for work.
It makes you think a lot, right? I mean, you never know what could happen.
I mean, yeah, but life goes on. But I just pray for the people that are involved,
Yeah, and just describe, even the conditions. It's cold out here. I mean, can you even imagine what they're having to go through? And they said they're going to keep, searching. They're going to stay on this until they have gotten everyone out that they can. But it's got to be extraordinarily difficult.
I can't imagine what they go through. I mean, I have first responders in my family, but I tell you what, they'll get the job done. That's all I know.
And tell me, when you were jolted, what did you think it was? Did you look at your phone right away? I mean, how long did it take you to realize?
I didn't look at my phone, but I did run outside because I thought a plane crashed.
Sounded that? It was that harsh.
That loud, yeah. So I was like, man, that's close. So I went and looked around, didn't see anything, and then went back inside, and my uncle actually called me and said the Key Bridge collapsed. So
I mean, it's such a. Talk to me about the importance of that. Bridge too. I mean, I think I read a statistic, roughly 30,000 cars a day. It's also where a lot of the hazardous chemicals go through because they can't go through the tunnel.
Get through the tunnel. Yeah, I mean, even with plumbing, I'm in plumbing and HVAC right now. So even with plumbing, you can't take acetylene tanks through the tunnel. So it's going to be a big strain on not only just day to day, but tradesmen's lives as well.
I heard you say you used to fish under there. I mean, just to think of that massive steel structure, how big it is, and something that could cause it to collapse.
I mean, it's baffling. I mean, I can't fish under there no more, but man, I don't know, the force that it took to do that, and it doesn't look like the ship's damaged at all. So
Massive ship, yeah.
It's
just
crazy.
It's hard to even describe, because I know people are seeing aerial views and different angles of this, but just from right here where we are on the edge of the water, and we're a little bit far away, but it's just incredible.
It is incredible. It's devastating to look at. To think something's been there since 1977. Actually, the anniversary just passed on the 24th.
Yeah, a few days ago.
So, to think something's been there 40 plus years or whatever. I'm not good at math, so don't quote me on that one.
47 years, yeah. It's hard to fathom, right? I mean, people are saying,
Yeah.
even I think I heard the mayor say it's like something out of a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what it's like. One of my neighbors came up and they said it was like an action movie, you know. It's something you feel like you're in Hollywood, you know. You're not. It's not real. It's a dream. So
And sadly, it's real, and they're, right now they're trying to save these people.
yeah, I mean, I hope every single one of them's okay. I prayed for them, and I'll continue to pray until they're found or okay. So that's all we can do.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. And again, we know that the crews haven't been interviewed. They're still on the ship, from what we understand. And we've been showing you this angle. I want to show it to you again, if you don't mind, just where we are in relation to the port. And you can see the port is right next to us. So the Dolly had left a little bit less than a half hour before the collision, left the port, went out into the Patapsco, and then didn't make it very far, and rammed into one of those support piers, and that's where it sits right now, and that's where the rescue efforts are focused to try to make sure if there's anyone still alive in that water that they can get them out, that they can save lives. Again, just an incredible scene here from Baltimore County as we continue to digest the news that the Key Bridge collapsed this morning, just around 1:30 this morning.